And we're back with more Shacknews awards. We're going to do the award for best FPS game of the year 2021. That's first person shooter. So pew pew, first person, not third person like Returnal, first person. And open it up
This
to
award actually comes with a special viewing experience, if I may. If you're watching this through your eyes, you're watching the best FPS award in first person. So that's the special viewing experience we're bringing you
that's
for this award.
that's
We
that
could,
meta stuff that Shackverse.com brings to the
We're
table.
That's it.
we could all turn our cameras towards our screens.
No. That's not gonna happen. Hey, who's got a nomination for best FPS? Dom,
Oh,
hit me
no.
again.
I'll just throw out the Halo Infinite just to have it out there because it's gonna come up regardless.
Yeah,
So
let's
there you
just get
go.
that out the door. TJ, you wanna tell me about Deathloop?
Yeah, probably the most satisfying guns of this entire year.
Mhm.
Deathloop is like, well, for one, Arcane went out of their way to make action and being loud fun for the first time in their catalog. Like they made getting out there with like some loud weapons and just causing havoc left and right a blast. The silent weapons, like we've spoke about it before previously, the silenced nail gun is a really fun quiet option.
It's
When
like
you
one of the
charge,
best nail guns ever created in a video game.
yeah, it's a visceral effect too. Like you charge that weapon, you can plank it and it doesn't do as much damage. But when you charge that thing, Colt's hand shakes, and when you let her rip, you just plow them in the head with that nail, and they just hit the ground like a sack of shit. and,
Nice.
um, it's and then there's like I've been banging this drum for a lot of this year. Probably the best shotgun I've felt in a long time. Deathloop, it has several different kinds of shotguns. One's an automatic shotgun, which is like has a massive clip on it and is fun to use for its own reason. But it also has like a legendary shotgun, which switches between a spread buckshot and a slug round. And the perks are different depending on when, like, the perks are actually randomized on the guns when you get them. But when I got that gun, it had a perk on it where the slug would explode into a gas canister, and then the scatter shot would ignite the gas and explode enemies. And I'm like, and he does like this flourish with it too. That is one of my favorite things in the animation in the game. Is when he transforms the shotgun after a shot, he'll actually flip it and twist it around, and it is so fun to watch. Also, brought back the mighty boot for that game. You can get this slab called the Havoc slab, and if you kick someone with that Havoc slab in play, you will turn them to pulp.
You had me at Mighty Boot.
So
Are there
yeah,
any other FPS games we want to nominate in this category?
Got one out of left field. Resident Evil 4 VR is a first-person shooter.
That is
And
accurate.
yeah, it is damn satisfying. You have full freedom of movement with both your hands. You can use two weapons at once, which is not something many FPS games have do. I mean, there's dual wielding, for example, but not full freedom of movement.
I will say to TJ's point, you got some minus points. You don't have any foot presence in a Meta Quest 2.
That's true. That's true.
that is true.
But
If I could
I
kick
would
zombies, that would be pretty cool.
that would be something. That would be something for sure.
You can,
It's
but you have
just
to land a headshot first.
Yeah.
it's just it's really satisfying, all the little touches that they added. Like, for example, you can just toss out grenades, or you can like pop the pin off of them first before you throw them. It's pretty awesome just to feel like a badass while you're kind of shooting a zombie with one hand, knifing another one, or even using the two-handed shotgun with one hand and a pistol with the other. It's just a really, really fun game, and I would just want to give another shout out to Armature for all the work and effort they put into that.
Nice. That's a good nomination. And a game that's kind of gone under the radar in a lot of our awards, I think largely due to the platform that they shipped on. Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
You know, especially with VR, like the more open you are, the more headsets you support, the larger your audience is going to be. And I think that's
Yeah.
an issue that Oculus has with how they're publishing games.
Mhm.
They're doing themselves a disservice, and it's similar to how Nintendo operates. It's not like unique to just them.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Any other nominations in this category? Chris, do
Well,
you
if
have
there's
anything?
anything,
Sorry, Ozzy, go ahead.
waiting on. Well, if there's anything more satisfying than grabbing a gun, it's telling your friends, "Hey, grab some guns." So, in that spirit, I'd like to nominate Back for Blood, which was also a first-person shooter that came out this year.
Mhm.
And the way I missed the Left 4 Dead type games. So just being able to grab a rifle, grab a shotgun, and just take on hordes and hordes of different infected types that come at you. So satisfying.
Mhm. I I really enjoyed playing this with my friends. I think it's a game that's definitely better with 4 people in your group as opposed to just going in by yourself. These other games,
Oh yeah,
I think, are all better from a single player experience perspective. That's the only negative I would give to Back for Blood in this category, is that for me, like
it
I
also
need
makes Back for Blood quite a wild. It actually makes Back for Blood quite a wild card in this category because
yeah,
it's one of the only ones where you can actually play with your friends.
that actually has co-op. You're right, and that's a huge minus point for Halo Infinite at launch, is that it does
Yeah,
not have co-op
Shmelo does not have co-op yet.
yet.
And actually,
Uh,
having looked at the campaign, I can see why. Because that
yeah,
putting co-op in that kind of game is really difficult.
it'd be weird. Uh, there's a lot of enemy and weapon balancing that they would have to do. That yeah, I understand.
Back
And
for
now
Blood also has to live.
having
Good.
had a few days of playing the game, I can see why we didn't get co-op at launch. It's still a
It's
bummer.
it's also got better PvP. Halo, that is.
Oh,
Um,
no contest. The
yeah,
Back 4 Blood PvP is
Yeah,
weird and
No good. It's not
yeah.
great.
Yeah.
it's weird
I
and
mean,
kind of bad.
yeah, and I agree. I enjoyed the hell out of playing that game with friends, but that's the like that's the rub though. It's like it's so relies on that co-op experience, which I guess to be fair, like so did the old Left 4 Dead games, and
Mhm.
but it totally scratched that itch for me as well, Ozzy. I agree, and
And
I appreciate that nomination.
I will say
Uh,
a point
The
that Chris
co-op
brought up in
element
his
is
no, sorry, go ahead.
so also the co-op element is both its strongest and its weakest point. Just because the co-op the AI in Back for Blood is really not that great.
Mm-mm. No, I think Chris made a point in his review of the game uh, that they claim to be a spiritual successor to the Left 4 Dead series, but they left out that competitive campaign element where you're competing
Yeah,
with your friends and stuff, and that's like a huge bummer to a lot of people.
I think that would have put it over the top, to be honest.
Mhm.
That would have been the perfect combination of what they've already put together, especially with the card system and stuff.
Yeah,
Like, it would have been interesting to see that.
yeah. Not throwing any shade at the game. Like I enjoy it, but I think there are like when you make these claims that you're the spiritual successor to an iconic franchise like
Yeah.
that, and then you leave out one of those key components, you're gonna set up some of your players for disappointment. And I think that they ran into that a little bit. Not to say that a lot of these games, I would say that Back for Blood and Halo Infinite more than the other two in this category are ongoing games and are likely going to be updated. And my hope is that we see Turtle Rock add that mode to the game down the road. And that would be cool. It's not
Yeah.
impossible for that to happen. But yeah, are we done with nominations? I don't think I saw anything from Chris in chat. Chris is having audio issues, folks. But yeah, let's vote. I'm gonna start with David.
This is a really tough one because I feel like Deathloop is a lot more creative and original just because it's kind of the first in its franchise. Maybe it'll be a franchise, and Arcane has been perfecting a lot of what they've done. But even as someone who's not the biggest Halo fan, Infinite just has felt so satisfying, and I'm really big on game feel for FPS, so I got to go with Halo.
Mm-hmm. Danny, what you got?
I'm going to go with Loop because I feel like the creativity David just brought up was a big seller for me. But also the co-op, well, I mean, somewhat co-op in that game. I had a really fun experience with one of my friends. having them join in and try and hunt me down. So
It's like an invasion mechanic, right?
yeah, they
Yeah.
play as Juliana, and
That's
they can
cool.
pop up in your game and try and take you out. And that cat and mouse was actually a really fun experience that I haven't had in a game like that before.
It's a cool feature, but I feel like it didn't catch on as much as it could have. Just from the way I've seen people streaming that game, it seems like it's more of a lot of people just took it as a single player game.
Yeah.
Well, but Juliana still shows up, and I love it when she does because she is a loot cache.
Oh yeah,
she has such good weapons.
Oh no, I get that she's still a character and a mechanic in the game, but that co-op nature that Denny's saying, I just think a lot of people may not even realize that it exists.
Yeah, it could have been executed better as far as like putting it in a situation where people would actually go, try and get a friend together for it, compared to just playing it alone. But
Donovan,
I like the effort.
Donovan, you gonna vote for Shmelo?
Yeah, it's Halo for me. I feel like a broken record today, but yep.
It's one of those days, Donovan. That's why we saved the weekend.
Yeah, we did.
So that people could give Halo a shot. It's why we're recording this after many other awards outlets have already listed their games. We wanted to give Halo a fair shot, and I think it was the right move. Greg.
Ooh, and I want everyone to remember this when we start voting best narrative. I'm going to do Halo Infinite because the gunplay does feel good, and I think Deathloop is more creative, but I think to capture that essence of Halo is very difficult, especially since it was on hiatus for so long. You didn't know it had an identity crisis for a while. It's important that they went back to the roots, and that's what they did in Halo Infinite. So I'll do Halo Infinite.
TJ, you sticking with Deathloop?
Deathloop.
Ozzy.
This comes down to what feels better for me, the nail gun in Deathloop or the skewer in Halo. And because God, I love the skewer so much. I think just for that, I'm going to go Halo.
One of my favorite guns, one of my favorite new additions to that franchise is the skewer. Also, that shock rifle, so good.
It is good.
Bill, what you got?
Master Chief.
Wow. Blake?
I'm going with Halo. I love me some open world gaming, and
nice.
Yeah, they got they make everything count. That's what I like. I feel like in games like Far Cry and stuff like that, it's like sometimes you get something cool out of it, like a weapon or something, but it's like, no, this is like RPG experience, and I appreciate that.
Sam Chandler voted for Halo Infinite. He's not awake yet because it's very early in the morning in Australia. And Chris, I know he's in here listening, but he's unable to speak right now. He says, I vote Deathloop for the same reason David chose Halo. The feel is great. So that's all the votes. We have a winner. It's Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite, Xbox, they made a good shmelo. They did the Halo. And every time I see the Halo in Halo Infinite, I'm the Leo pointing at the TV meme. But yeah, I don't know. Like Sam, if you haven't read Sam Chandler's review, it's excellent.
Yeah.
And the subtitle of it is Flawless Cowboy, which is a reference to the original Halo CE, the second mission in it where you're on the Halo. They basically made an entire game out of that level. And that's what Infinite is. And it's awesome. If you're a Halo fan, you're gonna love it. I think some people who aren't Halo fans are loving it. I think it's awesome. There's a ton of little details in that that I really appreciate. I think we're gonna be talking about Halo Infinite for a long time. But congratulations, Xbox 343 Industries. Halo Infinite is the Shacknews FPS Game of the Year 2021.
We built this facility off the grid to train the next generation of Spartans. To be a Spartan, you must become the impossible.
Greetings, Spartan. It would be my pleasure to serve at your side.